Hi, and welcome to our program. Today we are visiting Kunstcentrum Silkeborg again, but this time we are checking out the exhibition Unfolding Landscapes. Let's check it out. It feels a little bit apocalyptic, kind of even.
Yeah.
Like with the rusty things, and like things that are not whole anymore.
Yeah.
And like nature kind of took over.
Yeah, also this, because we have this one house, but I don't know if it's like being placed or it's being taken away. And also this, like, yeah, it's abandoned area. So yeah, I think it's also like a little note on how we as humans are not treating maybe our environments the best, but also our the humans in our environment. Like we forget sometimes that people around us is also part of like, yeah, our world and our responsibility maybe. And yeah, we have a certain duty to like not have people stuck in like nothingness. So yeah.
It's a bit scary how relatable it is right now.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the pictures are gonna like hit more on the subject than others. Yeah. Yeah, I was just, yeah, well, no, these are from Uge20, and actually, I'm not sure. Also, the video is that's by, no, that's Uge20. But these images are not Photoshop or like collage. This is not made of collage, because I thought at first, because it looks so surreal to me. Yeah, but they are like...
Are they moving a sculpture or something?
Yeah, so in 2015 in Ukraine, a law was passed that made it illegal to have these symbols or propaganda from the totalitarian, like communist regimes or Nazi regimes. So they had to like take down different sculptures and monuments and so on. And so this has been like partly taken down. I don't know if it's gonna stay this way, because I don't know if a horse is okay. So they have these remnants of like earlier times, and also someone moved to like very new, different type of scenes and areas. So we have this sculpture like probably standing in a square before, like yeah, and now it's just left in a field or something. Yeah, like as trash. So it's I think it's very interesting to see this shift in these types of things, because we also discuss it a lot nowadays at different places, not necessarily in like a communist or Nazi regime type of propaganda, but we have like discussed with Black Lives Matter, should we have like previous slave owners standing in different spots, even though it might not have been what we thought of them before. So we are discussing very much our history and what we have put up as like symbols from the past and so on. So I think it's a very interesting discussion also what happens to these things when they're taken down, and what is the like narrative of the way we tell our history now. So yeah, it's just very odd to me to see these things made to be like magnificent and grand, and now we don't see them the same way, so they can end up like here. So it's a very...
It literally seems trash.
Yeah, so it's odd to see these things taken out of context and like put in something very different from what it was meant to be.
Yeah, this even seems a little bit staged.
Yeah. Yeah, and we also have a hand over here, I think, yeah. It just looks so huge, and yeah, it's so odd. It looks like it's like lying in a garden somewhere. Yeah, so it's a clash between like they have been made to be these grand, amazing things to honor maybe someone, and now it's just it's not wanted anymore. We don't like them. We don't need them, so they're like taken down but not destructed entirely. Yeah. So yeah, it has a very interesting feel, and we also have like the fence here and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, once again, it really feels like it's staged, like it's not real.
As I said at first, I thought it was like a part of the like collage, but yeah, I was like, oh, it's true. It's like Uge20 have been like documenting these things from I think 2014 to 2021. So it's just like finding these things in the scenery or the landscape, lying around. Yeah.
And about the video, do you know something about it?
It's called The Cube. As far as I know, it's this repetitive video of this down at the water, but I don't know that much about it. Yeah.
Like I was trying to understand, like I did not really understand.
Yeah.
And yeah, the cube is everywhere in different places and everything.
Yeah. So I understand it's a place where the artist spent his childhood. So I think it's been like the same kind of wondering what it is and what is there for. But yeah, I can also see like they have graffiti on it now, and so yeah, I think it's changed. But also, yeah, it has this. We don't maybe see it as it was like created for. So yeah, we can sometimes things that are very like it can like these things could one day also be graffiti. We don't see it as like certain types of things. We don't respect them as it was like created for. So maybe like that type of feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How things evolve, even if you're not there.
Yeah.
To witness.
This painting is actually by the same artist who made the sculpture.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, so it's a very different feel.
Yeah.
So this is like, I think it's called Glacier. Yeah, and I think it's again like this sense of how nature changes and also how we as humans are part of that change. So the very serious topic of climate change, and it doesn't have any humans in it, but it's like still a part. The way it looks is based on us. So yeah, it's.
What do you mean when you say that? Based on humans?
Yeah, but like based on our action and the way we live, yeah, we are like destroying parts of the world we have never even seen. So yeah, I'm not even always aware of what my actions are that like does this, because I can be very conscious of what I maybe eat and so on. But if I like maybe buy something that is created very far from my home, maybe in a different part of the world, it takes so much energy to travel or get it here.
So, and also because it's so hard for people to live ethically every single day, to like make ethical choices every single day.
So I think it's also difficult to stay aware, and to me it's just a very. It's not like a pointed finger or something, but it's very like a still way to show like this is what's going on, and it's like a comment on how things are. So it's not. I don't feel like she's after us like saying oh, but it's still like a comment on this is what's going on and it's what's happening. But it's very far from me, so I don't. It's very difficult to remember these things in our everyday life.
If you cannot relate to it.
So yeah, but I think it's a very. It's funny to see the different type of like genre in her work. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Like now that you mention, you can see some similarities on how things are like designed, like drawn.
Yeah.
But still, wow.
So yeah, it's also very like different type of feeling with the color, because the painting has like, and the glaze gets this shiny feel and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like happy and kind of sad.
Yeah, and also very blue and cold. So yeah, it doesn't have the same warmth as the
Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah.
That's definitely it. Are the blue lines also part of it, or was it how it was here before?
No, it's a part of the. It's by Sergei Sviatchenko. Actually, he's been very important to the entire exhibition. He's been like a creative consultant.
Wow.
So he's born in Ukraine, but lives in Denmark today, out around Viborg, I think. And also some of the landscapes are from that area, like Viborg, but also Ukraine. But he's known as very famous for his collages, as we see, and he's also very known for this blue color. So he's been allowed to like paint on the wall also. So it's a total like
The whole thing is his.
So it's called Mysterious World, and we have these maybe kind of surrealist works with the like we see these body parts and. With landscapes, and so even though this is, you can see maybe some branches and so on, it still looks very much like a head from behind. Yeah, And to me also, I can never not like think about how the body can be a landscape. So we have these shapes that can be like hills or lows, and we have some type of mirroring in the landscape. Yeah. And as an art historian, I think this is very interesting because I was studying about the Golden Age in Denmark and like Danish art, and we had this very interesting understanding that the landscape also creates the human or our identity. Okay. So if you're from a certain type of area, that kind of nature would also have effect on your personal nature.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I think that's nice, and also how it connects like Ukraine and Denmark. Because I don't know that much about the Ukrainian landscape. It's a very huge country. I guess it's very different from one part to the other. But the idea that maybe it can have an impact on the people living there. And also we have this tiny oak. And it's, well, in the Golden Age, for example, we used these to say that the Danes was like strong and huge and powerful people, and we have this tiny oak here. But again, it's the feeling that we have that this can also say something about the humans living in that area, and I think it's very interesting and ties the entire artwork together with like a certain type of history, but also understanding of human and nature that maybe somehow also is present today. I guess some people, without maybe thinking about it, have like this idea that if they're living in a cold area, they're like some type of person, or with very huge mountains and so on. Yeah, it in the end it might shape us. Yeah,
especially the weather thing. You can really feel the difference when you come like to the Nordic countries or like Mediterranean countries. Yeah. Do you know where the blue comes from? Is it from the Ukrainian flag?
I actually don't know where his inspiration for the blue comes from, but yeah, I've been asked a lot about it during my tours because that's a lot of this very bright blue. And yeah, it is a part of the Ukrainian flag, but I don't know if that's what Sviatchenko has been like thinking, or it's just something that very much speaks to him, or it works for him. So
because even these two kind of remind a person of the Ukrainian flag, because it has yellow, even though it's like a little more pale, and blue. Like a nice detail with only the nails.
Yeah,
this blue. She was like he took a picture and then he painted on top. Yeah, like he made a collage and then he painted on top. Yeah, so there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. He works like with different materials in his work, and also. So yeah, this is also part of it. So it's a very like. Yeah, I was gonna ask, what is this? It's a shelf with some nature. I don't know for sure where he found it or like where it's from, but it's a part of this story about this mysterious world, I think. So I don't know if it's like from the Danish landscape or Ukrainian landscape. And also these small images. So it's a very huge combined work. Yeah, I think.
There's some eyes there.
So I think it works also because it's so big. So we don't have like normally when maybe you try to make a collage in school or something, it's very small, but it's get this like huge feeling, and I think it suits him very well with this entire wall. Yeah.
This also reminds me a little bit of the nakedness that is happening in general.
Oh yeah, so like this feeling of the wood. Yeah, and the skin. I get that. So yeah, I see a lot of like connections between. Also because we have, I think it's a boob, but it's like the softness of the organic shapes and the organic shapes in nature. Yeah. So to me, that's what stands out a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also funny that we cannot really see what is there.
Yeah, it's very mysterious to us, and like even those things that are recognizable, it's like a bit wonky or a bit changed. So yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Maybe we can go to this one next.
Actually, I think this is very interesting because I read up on it, and because I didn't understand for sure what it was, but it's made out of cobweb. Okay. So like spiders, the cobweb from that. Yeah. You're not good with.
I don't like spiders.
So
I can live with that, but far away.
Yeah. So Vitaly Kokan, he works with things found in nature. So I also think he says it stands in our catalog also, but he would like to maybe see how water flows or how light spreads on the moon. So he's very interested in these things found in nature. And this cobweb would be something we would normally clean if we found it behind our like cupboards or fridge or something. But he's like taking it out of that context and like lifted it up. So he's like put it in between these glass frames. So now it looks so much different. It gets like a different visual language. Yeah, and to me first it looks like smoke also. Yeah. Or some ink or something. Yeah, so I just, it's very new to me that somebody would even consider like taking that and making into something like art.
But I'm just amazed at how he took the thing. Like it's.
Yeah, it's very difficult to work with, I imagine. Yeah.
How do you work with it? Like it just breaks. Wow.
Yeah.
Does he have any more pieces here?
This is the only one of him. Yeah, but I think it's also when I tell about the cobweb, people get very interested in because normally you can walk around. I think it's also because you can look through it. But that's also the point. It looks, it's a part of the way you see the room. So if you stand here, it will be one thing. If you stand over there and see it this way, it will be something else. So it becomes also a part of the entire exhibition and the room behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I was
hoping for more. Yeah.
What else he works with?
Yeah. So yeah, he gives like this, it's like a certain type of language in nature that we don't normally recognize in our everyday life. So yeah, I think it's a very beautiful and poetical way to like give these things meaning, or like not even give them meaning, but like see the meaning already there maybe. Yeah.
And this is literally the example of what's one man's trash, it's another man's gold.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah.
Wow.
It's a very interesting way to work.
Yeah.
These pictures have as we talked about, the shift in like when this was planned and then with the current events and the war, because they are called bombed. Yeah, so to me it's very obvious, like it's a war thing or like military at least. But the landscape here, you might see, it's like when you go on Google Maps and you see the roads, and so it's the look on top from like air view.
But this is not only paint?
No, so it's actually paper on top of metal, so you can see it shines because it's been like scratched, but it's a paper surface.
Okay.
So they have this different layers. I don't know. It's like, it must be like blue underneath, and then it's been scratched down.
Because some parts really seem like paint, but on other parts you can like see.
Yeah, I can get like flossed or something. Yeah.
Wow, that's really nice.
So the landscape is from a place where it's been bombed, and I don't remember when, because I don't know what like occasion, so to speak, these bombs were like dropped. But so these are all the like holes in the landscape. So far away, it looks to me like very innocent, these images, and because it has these very calm colors, and even like the shiny effect of the metal, it gives like a very pretty feeling, or like beautiful. But to get closer and to understand what these like shiny holes are. So to me, this is a very interesting way to see landscape, like from above and down. But it's very obvious to me where we as humans have affected this landscape. Not only do we have roads and so on, but we also like make holes in it. It's very visual to me that we are destroying it. Yeah.
And do you happen to know if it's based on like the real spots?
Yeah, it should be based on the real spots, as far as I understand. So it's I don't know if these would still be like visual in that way today. I don't remember. As I said, I'm not sure when the bombs were dropped, or if it's like he got like access to where bombs were dropped. But it could also realistically be something that was still visible today. But I'm not completely sure. But it is based on like real bombings.
Yeah, because this is a lot.
Yeah.
This is really a lot.
Yeah, so you also get a feeling what is like target areas. So it's actually also very visual here, because it's very much here, but we have these parts in the landscape that's very, or not very untouched, but not as much as this area.
Yeah.
So
you can see kind of what the target was.
Yeah. But it's still very abstract. You get the road feeling, but I wouldn't be able to point out where people were living or.
Even the roads, I feel like my brain only noticed it after you mentioned that it was with the bombings and like kind of like a map.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise.
So yeah, that's certainly one of the artworks in the exhibition that's changed for me from before and after when I have the tours here. In here we have a piece of Alexander Syvodkov, and it's called The Way to the Temple.
The Way to the Temple.
Yeah, so it has this, it's two-sided piece, so to speak. So I have all of this text, and I'm actually not sure what it says. I'm not even sure what like language it is. It has this scribble effect, but he was very much inspired by archaic art and like this old and religious art. So it's a very different feel in present day, so to speak, because normally, at least in Denmark, we're not that religious. We are like a cultural Christian, so to speak, so we don't see religious art that much anymore, as we did in like the Middle Ages and so on. So I think it's a very interesting, different, like contemporary art piece. So as I said, I don't know for sure what it says, but I think he was inspired by older, like both religious but also philosophical texts. And yeah, we go on the other side here, because it has.
I cannot even understand which alphabet.
Oh yeah, so
because it's cursive, so I cannot.
Yeah, and cursive in all languages looks very So this is a very different like visual type of So it has this very almost like you have the feeling of someone very rough or like angry maybe, or like been. It's like cutting these lines. So you, to me, because of the title, I see it as it's going all of this way to the center. So as it's the way to the temple. So you can see it as you can get there, maybe by text you can read it, but also it's like you will get there maybe both spiritually, but also maybe physically you can go someplace. But to me, these lines as they connect, it seems like that's the place they're going. So yeah, and also I think it's very interesting that the wood doesn't connect perfectly, but it's still the lines do.
It's on purpose that it's not like
So also, as I said, we don't see that much religious art in this sense more, but yeah, it's a very different take on it. It doesn't have this very polished or neat finish, even though I wouldn't say it's not beautiful, because it has its own beauty, but it's very different from the old images of like churches or religious figures and so on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of wings also.
Yeah. This could be wings, right? Like it has like I also considered that it's like maybe an angel or something. Yeah, I don't know. So that's what I also like. You start to wonder what the things are. Yeah, but I really like the texture. Like you can, it's really visual, like strong. I think it's the wood is also a very nice choice, because it has this again like tactile. We know the feeling of touching it, and it can be very difficult not to touch artworks in some exhibitions. Because you would like know how it's made and so on. But you should be careful with everything.
Yes, no touching. Very respectful.
We get curious about how it's made.
It makes sense. We perceive a lot of things through our hands. Yeah,
and also if like we would know how it would be to touch it. Still. So this is a panorama room where we have the beautiful view of the lake. And in here we have two different artists in this part. So we have Pablo Markov, who made the two pink, the images or like etchings. It's like printed on, and this one. Yeah. So can maybe start with this one. So it's inspired by like a fingerprint. So the
okay, I see it now. I was a bit confused. Now everything makes sense.
Yeah, but the way he works is very interesting because he uses etchings. So he would like have, you can maybe see it clear here. So you can sense like a small.
It's like
yeah, so he's been like printing them onto each one. So he's like have one that looks like this, but he would like repeat it. So it's his work takes some time. Also, just one thing is to make the plates and then to put them onto. But they also have different things. So we have like something red down here that stands out.
Is it a heart?
Maybe I thought it was a bush, but it could be a heart also. And then we have a few places where there's like humans, so we have a little female, a little man.
It's so funny because this is like so realistic, and then you have the small things that you see like in the toilet. Like this, like very graphic.
Sure.
Clearly man-made.
So
Wow. Nice contrast.
Yeah. So to me it's just very interesting how it was even possible to like put this together. So you can get the repetitive feeling of like some things like shows up a lot of times, but also it's like very beautiful work. It's very beautiful details. And also I like the thing about etching. It gets this the black feeling of it not being totally clean. So it has this nice like smudges some places. Yeah. And he also used some of the same technique over here, but it has a very different feel. It doesn't have this organic or yeah, so it's the same. He still prints each little figure, but he also uses I think it's like graphite and colored pencils. So we would have but yeah, I think these two have the titles of something like city with Freedom Square and the one with the Independence Square.
Okay.
But what he also thinks about these titles is that we might name something a Freedom Square or an Independence Square, but is it like some type of idealistic name, and does it work this way just because we name something like independence? Would it be independent? And Ukraine was gained their independence in 1991, so it's a relatively young country. But the thing about these images is he's also like kind of inspired by military targets, how we see them. So they have this very straight lines. So I think it clashes very well with the idea that it should be maybe like a freedom square. It gets this very serious notion.
Very serious, like military, like.
Yeah.
That was it for today. Thank you so much for staying with us. We hope you enjoyed this program. See you next time.